Disaster at Christmas. Pan Am 103 never makes it home.
From ABC, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. The simple facts are these. Pan Am's Flight 103 had been in the air for an hour. The 747 was en route from London to New York and then Detroit. According to Pan American, there were more than 240 passengers on board and a crew of 15. It was after dark. For reasons we do not yet understand, the plane with 50,000 gallons of fuel on board plunged into a small Scottish market town. Pan American is not aware that any of the passengers or crew has survived. Our first report is from ABC's Barry Dunsmore.
The first pictures from the scene show strings of houses on fire. Eyewitnesses say the plane hit a gas station and several houses. Others talked of a rumbling and then a terrible explosion.
Dozens of houses are burning, and the fire brigade are being hampered in their attempts to put out the fires by the risk of a further explosion from the petrol station, which the Pan Am Jumbo hit as it crashed into the town.
Rescue services have taken a dozen people to an area hospital. They are believed to be local people suffering from burns. There is no word, but little hope for the passengers.
There's very little hope, I would have thought, for anybody who was in that plane. When it did come to earth, as people have described locally, with an enormous flash of flame, it hit very hard.
Pan Am Flight 103 originated in Frankfurt, West Germany. There was a plane change to the 747 in London. 54 minutes after the plane took off, flying at 31,000 feet, it disappeared from radar screens in Scotland. Shortly after, it was seen crashing into the Scottish town of Lockerbie, near Scotland's border with England. In New York, a Pan Am spokesman said there was no contact with the aircraft before it crashed.
As I said, there was no prior indication that there were any problems with the aircraft. There was no contact prior, any Mayday signals. The aircraft had made normal contact with the control center.
More than a dozen rescue helicopters have been dispatched to the area, while the main highway between Scotland and England has been closed. The town centre of Lockerbie is littered with debris. And it's also understood that the cockpit of the plane hit another town about 6 miles away. This may account for the fact that some people think there were 2 planes and 2 explosions. However, the RAF has ruled out any military plane, and it doesn't seem likely a civilian plane would have been that high. An official of Jane's All the World's Aircraft has told us tonight that given the spread of the debris, it certainly seems as though there was an implosion, which would have been caused by a structural failure, or an explosion caused perhaps by a bomb.
There is more anger this evening over the release of the lone man convicted in the bombing of Pan Am Flight 103. Tonight we've learned the head of the FBI has now sent a letter to Scotland and to the families of the American victims, letting everyone know he's outraged too. Here's ABC's Lama Hassan now.
The hero's welcome continues for convicted killer Abdel Basit Ali al-Megrahi, embraced here by Libya's leader Muammar Gaddafi. Gaddafi praised Scotland's decision to release Megrahi early on humanitarian grounds. But that decision is widely condemned by the US, most recently in a letter from FBI Director Robert Mueller to the Scottish Justice Minister. "I am outraged at your decision," he says, calling it a mockery of the rule of law. And by New York Senator Chuck Schumer.
If Libya wants to be embraced by the international community, embracing convicted terrorists is not the way to do it. It's revolting to me, to the victims' families, to all people of goodwill in every country in this world.
Families of the victims on both sides of the Atlantic are also angry by the release and by his warm welcome in Libya.
He was convicted of mass murder, a convicted terrorist.
I don't think that he deserved the right to be home with his family.
But some families, especially in Britain, believe Megrahi is the wrong man. And Megrahi himself claims to have new evidence proving his innocence. Evidence he says he will release someday. Megrahi may be a free man today, but with just months to live because of prostate cancer, he is serving a sentence he cannot reverse. Lama Hassan, ABC News, London.